And we're doing this live, guys, so you're going to need the patience of a trader whilst we wait for the room to fill and whilst we get all the connections going. We're going to be live on X, we're live on YouTube, so do bear with us. Okay, I think we are live now. Excellent. So we'll wait. Once you join, let me know. Say hello in the chat. I'm looking at the YouTube live chat, guys. Beautiful. We got some traders in the house. How you guys doing? Ole, Malbin, where are you guys connecting from? Good afternoon. It's nice to see you guys. Nice to have you. All right. So Ole from Portugal. Amazing. My wife is from Portugal. My favorite country in Europe. And Malbin from Kenya. Fantastic. I've seen beautiful pictures of Kenya. Would love to go there one day. All right. So I've got something special for you guys today. So I want you guys to really focus, get a pen and a notepad ready, because I want you guys to learn something today. I want you guys to really go take something valuable from today's webinar. So I want to quickly introduce myself. My name is Rodrigo Antonio, and I'm a very successful performance coach. I've coached over 100 traders, and I've helped them reprogram their emotions, their behaviors, their beliefs in order to become consistently profitable. And this has been done through systems, through rules-based scoring systems and point systems in order to gamify the process. And my clients have unlocked over $25 million in funding and over $2.5 million now in payouts. And that number keeps growing every single month. So I would like to share with you today what it truly means to have an edge. And I'm going to share with you the tactical, the technical, and the psychological. Because when I've spoken to a lot of traders, I've met thousands of traders from all around the world. And when I ask them about their edge, they're very quick to tell me about their entry, how much they risk, but very few actually truly know what their edge is. And so I want to teach you guys what it truly means to have an edge. What do you guys think having an edge is? What does it mean to you? Let me know in the chat. What do you think an edge is? Manoj says calmness. I like that. Okay. What else? Does an edge, is it purely technical? Or does it also include psychological? Tharun says patience and discipline. Okay. Well, technically, when we refer to an edge is simply when one outcome has a higher probability than another. Now, because we're traders, we are using patterns. We are using technical analysis, fundamental analysis. We are using data in order to determine what is the most probable outcome. Okay. And we're using probability. And so whatever this outcome is, over a large sample of trades, over a large sample of data, there is more likelihood that this particular pattern reoccurs than not reoccurring. And so as traders, what we want to do is we want to understand what these patterns are so that we can then be able to execute and manage risk to take advantage of whatever edge there is. And this is key. This is absolutely key. So I want to dive deep into some steps, some very important steps for you to really understand the key components of what having an edge truly means. And I'm going to take you through 6 steps. Now, hopefully we can get this done in the next 60 minutes. Otherwise, we're going to have a part 2, which I'm totally cool with, because there's a lot for you guys to take in. I know you're going to have questions, so I want to leave some time for questions. So we may have to split this into 2 parts. Part 1, we'll do steps 1, 2, and 3, and part 2, we do 4, 5, and 6. How does that sound, guys? You guys with me? Type a 1 in the chat if you're ready. Oh, I like these definitions. Henry King says, an edge is advantage a trader has over the market, both technical and psychological. Yes, love that. Suraj says, risk management and psychology. Okay. Thomas says, emotional control, enter trades with logic, exit with discipline, detached from results. Wow. I think Thomas here has just provided us with a very, very clever response. And I want to break it down what Thomas means. That's fantastic. Thank you for sharing that, Thomas. Henry wants all 6 steps in one go. Patience, my friend, patience. Less is more, okay? Less is more. Remember this principle in trading. If I cram all 6 steps in 1 hour, there's it's impossible to absorb it all, okay? So let's be patient. Let's really, it's quality over quantity. All right. That's what trading is all about. Quality over quantity. That's another very important principle. Less is more, quality over quantity. So I see lots of questions coming in. Let's go through the presentation that I've prepared for you. And I'm sure I'm going to answer a lot of your questions. But if I don't, I'll spend 10 minutes at the end going over these questions. All right. We'll do a quick Q&A at the end. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you all. Can type a yes in the chat if you can see my screen. Thanks, guys. Okay, let's begin. I might have a few sips of my protein shake with coffee in it because I just came back from the gym. And I need the protein and I need the caffeine so I can be super focused with you guys. Okay. Do you have an edge? It's my question to you. Type a 1 in the chat if you think you have an edge. type a 2 in the chat if you think you don't have an edge. Okay, so many of you are saying you have an edge. Okay, I'm going to test you guys, and I will need you guys to be honest with me. Okay, many of you have an edge. Okay, let's see. Okay, let's see. After today, you're going to know if you have an edge or not. So I need to, I'm going to just pop out the chat. Here we go. All right. Is your edge well defined and well structured? Okay, so I want you guys to write these down. Yeah, I'm gonna go quick. So if you need to take a screenshot, take a screenshot, or take a picture on your phone, and then make notes afterwards. Okay, today's all about learning, all about really testing your knowledge about your edge, because you need to know what the most and least critical components that define the context, narrative, and bias. What are the most critical components that define your context or narrative or bias? Essentially, the trend, okay, the direction of the day or whatever time frame you're trading. What is the direction on the higher time frame? What's the most critical components to define the direction? Some people call it context, some people call it narrative, some people call the trend. And what's the least critical components? You need to separate that. You need to know what's the most critical versus the least critical. Yeah. Because you might have a very strong trend, um, and then you see a bit of news and you think, oh, I can't trade because of the news. How critical is the news in order for you to fulfill your edge? Is the news or a particular data release, is that very critical for your edge, or is it least critical, the least critical? Have you tested that? Do you know the answer? And what external factors must be present? Let's explore this. Is it high impact news, indicators? Do you measure volatility? Like for example, if you're trading ES, are you looking at the VIX? Are you measuring volatility in that sense and session time? Are you able to trade any session, or does your particular entry model require you to only enter trades within a specific session time? You need to know these answers, guys. And what external factors invalidate a trade or a session? So I want to explore this invalidation. So many traders, the majority of traders are focusing so much on what validates their edge, what validates an entry. Very few have enough experience, knowledge, and awareness of what actually invalidates. Because not being in a trade is still a trade. Yeah, remember that. Not being a trade is still a trade. Sitting on cash, avoiding trading because of these invalidation markers is as important as entering the trade. So you need to stay out the majority of the time. Very, very important. So that's step one. And also, once you understand if it's well defined, is it verified? I'll guarantee you that if I have a call with every single one of you and I asked you, show me and verify your edge to me, the majority of you will not be able to verify your edge. Although all of you guys who said you have an edge and you all ticked you all typed 11111, I guarantee the majority of you will not have a verified edge, because I understand what I'll be very, very, I'll scrutinize every single person's edge. I know what type of metrics are required for you to be a profitable funded trader. And that is both for swing traders, day traders, scalpers, supply and demand, ICT, SMC, Elliott wave traders, order flow traders, volume profile traders, you name it, market structure, price action. You need to demonstrate that you have sufficient back-tested data that proves with hundreds of trades, at least 300 trades under different market conditions, not just when the market's trending, but when the market's moving sideways. Not just when there is a deflationary environment, but also inflationary environment. You need to have this data. What type of market conditions do you need to be focused on? Do you need to test? You need to stress test your edge in ranging markets, trending markets, fundamental sensitive markets. So when Trump came to office the first time in the year 2000, no, wait, not 2000, it was 4 years prior to that, 2016. When Trump came into office first time, 2016, and how did that impact the market? How did that impact the assets that you trade? How did his tweets, when he was tweeting about monetary policy, how did that impact the dollar? Because very clear. If you look at the US index 2016 to 2020, where for those of you that are watching this, go on TradingView, go on the weekly on DXY, on Dixie, and tell me from 2016 to 2020, what did the dollar do? What direction did the dollar do? And then in 2020, what did the US dollar, where did it go when Biden came to office? And now, when Trump has come back into office, what is the US dollar doing? If someone can tell me that in the chat, I'll, I'll be very, very impressed. Because you need to understand, you need to test your strategy across these market conditions. Okay? Seasonal conditions. Seasonal conditions means when you look at data across 20, 30 years on that particular asset that you're trading, what type of repetitive seasons occur? For example, where during inflation, where the interest rate hikes, how does your asset behave when the central banks are hiking interest rates, or if they are cutting interest rates? Quantitative easing, when they're printing more and more cash, how does that impact your asset? And how does that impact your strategy during these times? No one's answered my question yet. Oh yeah, Melbourne, it tanked. Yeah, when Trump goes to when Trump is in office, the US dollar declines. What does that mean for US dollar pairs? If the US dollar is going down, what does that mean for the euro? What does that mean for cable? What does that mean for dollar yen? What does that mean for dollar CAD? So Kidu says the dollar strengthened after, especially after the Federal Reserve raised rates in December 2016. So it's important to test. You need to have hundreds of trades under these different conditions so that you can be confident that when market structure changes, when the fundamentals have changed, and when I tell you they've changed, it means that it's happened in the past. You need to figure out when in the past has these conditions occurred, and how does my strategy work under these conditions. Now, is your data verified? Can you provide accurate forward tested data and live trading data? Now, the key word here is accurate. Yeah, the key word here is accurate. Accurate means you have followed your rules. I'll pose a challenge for you. Can you follow your rules for 20 trades in a row? Have you ever done that before? Type a 1 in the chat if you've ever done that. 20 trades without breaking your rules. Have you ever done that? My lagging. Okay, I'll see if I can close some windows. Just bear with me, guys. I think I'm lagging. Okay, I've closed some windows. Hopefully that's done the trick. Yeah, it's true, Ole. It is hard to stick to the rules on 20 trades because psychology takes over. Yeah, it's tough. Now, if you haven't tested your strategy with 20, 50, 100 trades on a forward test, can you confidently tell me that you have accurate data, that you truly have an edge if psychology then gets in the way? It's a hard answer to that. Is a very difficult question to answer, isn't it? Can you truly trust your edge if you haven't, in black and white, on a spreadsheet, you can say, this is my strategy without breaking my rules. This is what I can, this is what I've been able to produce in Q1, in Q2, January, February, March, April, May of 2025. And this is how I performed last year. Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. Yes, I made a few mistakes, but when I follow my rules, this is the data. This is what it looks like. Okay, so all you guys who typed 1 in the beginning, is it starting to look like a 2? You thought you had an edge, but do you truly have an edge? Do you truly have the data yet? Be honest, guys. Yeah, and Kidus is right. Kidus says, I'm doing stupid things when journaling. So it's hard to know what works and what doesn't. Yeah, that's the other thing as well. If you're not journaling properly, how do you know if you have an edge or not? You're not even tracking. This is why trading is so difficult, because traders are not they're not treating this like a professional business. They're treating this as a hobby. They're treating this like a bit of gambling. They're just placing bets. in the hope that they want to make money. So, Thomas, thank you for being honest. Yeah, we think we have an edge in our mind without backtesting, journaling, and getting data for the edge. Yeah, that's right, Thomas. I'm here. Guys. I'm being brutally honest with you guys. I'm being very blunt, but that's because I want to help you. You know, I'm giving you the blow, but it's a soft blow. Yeah, I'm giving it to you hard. I'm giving it to you raw, but it's for your own good. I'm not gonna beat around the bush. I'm not gonna sugarcoat things for you. The reason why you are failing is because you don't truly have an edge. So of course you're gonna have psychological problems. Of course you're not gonna get results because you haven't actually done what's required. And the truth is, mate, you don't know what you don't know, right? The truth is, most of you are ignorant to what an edge truly is. But that's why I wanted to cover this topic with you. Yeah. So now you're not ignorant anymore. You understand. So I hope you guys are taking notes. If you take, if you're not taking notes, then you might as well not not be here. If you're taking notes, let's continue. So that's step one. Everyone clear on step one? Yeah. I'll leave that there for you guys to take a screenshot. Type of step one in the chat if it makes sense. Good. Fantastic. Now let's talk about step two. I told you guys we're already 30 minutes in and we're only in step two. Yeah, I want you guys to get lots of value from this. So I don't want to rush it. I want to make sure you guys understand. Okay, everyone understands. Step one, step one, step one. Love it, love it. Good. All right, let's continue. Why is no one liking the video? Why is no one liking this call? Come on, guys. There's like, I should get at least 10 likes. Come on. Show me some love. Okay. Step two, do you have the ability to identify your edge? I'll ask you again. Do you have the ability? Do you have the capacity? Do you have the knowledge, the experience to recognize when your edge is apparent? That's a tough question. Oh, I love it. That jumped up to 16 likes. Appreciate the love. Thank you. Okay. Can you recognize a good trade? Do you anticipate a high probability entry model forming? Can you anticipate a high probability entry model forming? This is a tricky question because a lot of you are doing backtesting wrong because there's a thing called hindsight bias. Yeah. Has anyone heard of that? Hindsight bias. This is what you want to avoid. Okay. Hindsight bias. I won't go into too much detail, but you can Google it. You can understand what it means. But essentially, when traders are backtesting, they're just rewinding on TradingView. They're taking screenshots, and it's just that they're just glazing over, and they already know what's about to happen. So there's hindsight. Now, what this does, it destroys your ability to anticipate as price is forming candle by candle. And so this is where a lot of traders suffer from FOMO because they don't truly know how to anticipate a high probability setup that's forming. They don't yet quite have the rules to validate. They don't have the rules to invalidate. They haven't tested enough. They don't have the accurate data. Oh man, I'm hurting a lot of I'm hurting a lot of feelings, I know. But look, if I have to drill this into your head to help you, then so be it. Your ego is gonna hurt, but I know you're here to learn, and I appreciate your time. Can you differentiate a strong versus a weak signal forming? Yeah, so when the setup is forming, can you tell whether it's low probability or high probability based on your data? Yeah, very, very important question. And can you effectively identify the risk? Okay, risk management it's there's so much breadth and depth to it. Yeah, it's not just as simple as risk 1% to make 2%. Okay, it's not that simple. You can do an entire degree on just risk management. Yeah, there are literally risk managers that their full-time job is just managing risk for traders and a fund. You have to do their job as well as trade. So let's talk about this. BK Trading says today's questions are eye-opening. Yeah. I'm just listen, guys. I'm just providing a message through questions. Okay, I'm actually asking you these questions, and if you're honest with yourself, you realize that I don't have the answer. However, now that you know what these questions are, now you know you need to find the answer, and this is the key, right? If you don't know the answer, then it means you probably don't know you're not asking the right questions. So today I wanted to make it very, very clear. All right, guys, let's not spam, please. Okay, let's talk about risk. Can you identify when your edge has eroded due to price signals? So before I asked you, can you anticipate a high probability entry model forming? Can you differentiate between a strong and a versus? So now this is when a trade has already formed. So you've had a high probability setup, but suddenly something's changed. Now it went from high probability to low probability. So before you had nothing, then you have high probability, and now you have low probability. So from high to low, what do you need to see in order to make that decision and say, okay, this is not valid anymore, or this is low probability, I'm staying out? So few people understand this. I'll give you some ideas. Is there a change of character, or in other words, a market structure shift? And this could be defined as candle closes. It could be wicks. You might have a support or resistance that gets wicked. Do you class that? Does that erode the probability of the setup, or do you need to see a close? above that support or resistance. Yeah? Do you need to see a wick, or do you need to see a candle close? Two different things that could erode a particular setup. Time of session. If you trade London only and your setup forms in New York, do you still take it? What does your data tell you? So does time impact? Does time impact? So when you're out of session, does that lower the probability? Does it erode your edge? Very important question. Ole says such questions give the opportunity to reflect and look at your trading and strategy from a different perspective. Absolutely. Price action. Is there any particular price action pattern, candlestick formation that would erode your edge? Any wicks, large wicks? Perhaps maybe a draw of liquidity occurs before your entry. So in other words, when price reaches intended target. So if you're looking for a particular target and price suddenly reaches that level before your entry, do you still take the trade? If it goes back to your entry, do you still target the same level? Important question. Very difficult to answer unless you have data. Yeah. And look, this is all unique to you guys. Next question, and we're still in step 2 about, do you have the ability? Do you have the capacity? Do you have the awareness of identifying your edge? Can you identify all the external variables that erode your edge? So these are internal. Okay. Let's understand external. Broker risk. For those of you trading with a broker, you manage your own personal capital. Does issues with your broker, does that erode your edge? I'll give you an example. There are some brokers that when there's some brokers that are quite dodgy, and there's some brokers that they seem to go down. Their platform freezes, and I'm not naming names. Same thing with prop firms. Suddenly the platform goes down as soon as you're in a great trade. So there's risk on the brokerage side as well as the platform side. Prop firm risk. Do the rules of the prop firm that you're trading with, do they reduce your edge? Do they erode your edge? Do they, let's say, for example, you're a swing trader and you're trading with a prop firm that has a trailing drawdown or relative drawdown. Of course, that's going to erode your edge because you won't be able to hold your trades, let alone hold them overnight. So there's risk on the prop firm side because the rules don't align with your edge. So just because the prop firm is giving you a good offer, a great discount, doesn't mean you can trade with them. Family situations. Does a current family situation, does that impact your edge? Does that impact your ability to focus? Does that impact your ability to handle your emotions and your mental and physical? If you've only slept 2 hours, 3 days in a row, does that impact your edge, your ability to identify your edge and follow your rules? If you're not feeling well, you have some fever, some flu, you have a headache, how does that impact your trading? If you play sport and you have an injury, or you have a back injury and you struggle to sit down for too long, being in pain physically, how does that impact your trading? Important questions that you need to know the answer for. And what are the negative confluences you need to spot in order to reduce your risk? So everything we've spoken about so far, what needs to happen for you to decide, you know what, I'm going to reduce my risk because 1, 2, and 3 have happened. When this occurs, I reduce my risk. Very, very important, guys. Yeah, family situations are tough. Now, finally, step 3. Do you have a process that prepares you mentally and physically? Remember, guys, this is about building an edge, knowing your edge, and this is very important. Can you optimize mentally and physically? Mindset and emotional discipline. So, do you understand what drives you? Are you driven by money? Are you driven by making back your losses? Are you driven because you hate your job? Are you driven because you have a lot of debt and you have a looming deadline to pay your debts? What drives you? What factors are distracting you? What factors are distracting your thought process? Yeah. Also, what drives you? Maybe f- for some of you, for very few of you, what drives you is you want to follow your process. As long as you follow your rules today, you're happy. As long as you stick to your routine, you're content, you're grateful. So you prefer to focus on the process rather than the outcome. But that's only 1% of you. I told you I'm going to I'm going to hurt feelings here. I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you. And I'm not sorry. Yeah. I want to be real with you guys because I want to help. But this is tough love. Yeah. So if I'm exposing you, hey, it's all love. Do you have a functional and realistic mental framework to apply to your day-to-day activities? So how when you structure your day, how does it make you feel? When you structure your day, do you have to fight with yourself to make things happen, or can you actually follow through? What parts, what decisions, what parts of your trading, what parts of your edge cause you to be focused, and which parts cause you to be stressed and anxious? And how should you manage those both situations? How do you manage your routine in order to prepare for those stressful moments? And what are your expectations when trading? And do they serve you? This is a very hard question. What do you expect at the end of the day, from trading, from all your hard work? What do you expect? If it's just to get paid, if it's just to be green on the day, then that's not going to serve you, is it? Because then you're going to feel good when you're green, and you're going to feel bad when you're in the red. Every trade is going to feel very bad. That doesn't serve you. You shouldn't be feeling very bad after a loss, especially if you followed your rules. What serves you, anything that doesn't serve you, get rid of it, replace it, reframe it, write that down. Someone type it in, please. Anything that doesn't serve you, reframe it or replace it or get rid of it. Eliminating barriers and limiting factors. What routines and habits best serve you? Okay. What makes you feel energetic? What gives you energy? What gives you focus? What releases stress? What habits serve you? Everyone's different. And what habits can you track, measure, and control? Very important, because what you can track and measure, you can control. And what is your RRR protocol? Reset, review, recalibrate. This is a framework that I teach my clients. And what external factors can you control and limit their impact? Remember, we spoke about some external factors. These are some external factors here. What can you control within these? Does that make sense? So these are the 3 steps, guys. And we'll spend the next 5-10 minutes answering your questions on this. So you can take a screenshot of that if you want. And then we'll do some Q&A. We'll do some Q&A for the last 10. Ole says external factors now is Trump's speech. That's funny. It's true. I wouldn't say Trump is the GOAT. Not when he's complicit to genocide. All right. What questions do you have? Thank you, BK. I appreciate the kind words. No questions. Everything is clear. Wow. Okay. I've given you that many questions. I've given you so many questions. I want you guys to give me some questions. BK is asking a great question. Why I doubt my edge after one loss? I'll tell you why. Because you are emotionally attached to winners. Winning for you feels very good. Losing, and because of that, losing feels very bad. So you need to replace this. You Winning shouldn't feel so good. Following your rules, whether you win or lose, that should feel better. So you need to replace where you get emotional gratification. I hope that answers your question. What percentage should we risk in prop firm trade? This depends on your back test and your forward test. I can't give you an answer because I don't know your strategy. I can't see your data. Is it normal to have 6 trading loss streak? Yeah, I've seen over 100 systems, and I would say the average is eight trades in a row. Following your rules, 100% following your rules, 8 trades in a row is the average. So I hope you're prepared to lose up to 8 trades in a row. Following your rules. That's a key point. That's a great question, Kidus. There's 2 parts to it. So the question is, what are the specific mental habits and daily training rituals you use to develop your edge? And how would you rebuild it from scratch if you lost everything today? Okay. So the first, what I'll do is I'll look at my schedule and I'll look at all my commitments. So I'll look at my digital calendar. I'll create a digital calendar and I'll put in all of my um, everything that I need to do each week. Family, spirituality. So family, religion, health, work, project 1, project 2, project 3, trading, journaling, meditation. So I'll have everything on a calendar and I'll have all the repeatable events on repeat. Then, depending on what gets me the most energy, the best focus, those are the habits I'll focus on. I will keep it simple. So I'll make sure I've got habits for the morning, I've got habits for the afternoon, and I have habits in the evening. And I'll make sure that my habits and my routine begins the night before. So everybody starts their day. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to start my habits. They're already too late. Your day starts the night before. So I would ensure that my habits and my routine begins the night before. So the next day I'm prepared and I know exactly what I need to do. I don't need to think as much. I don't need to make so many decisions because I've already planned my day. That's what I'll do if I had to start again. And these are the type of ways I would organize my routine. I'm glad you guys are getting lots of value from this. Yes, I am British. No, I'm not Mexican. I was born in Colombia, but I'm brought up in the UK. I'm glad today was eye-opening. Fantastic. Any more questions, guys? I'll take one more question. Thanks for the compliments, guys. My pleasure. So, Kidus, I see that you've asked that question twice. So I have answered that question just now. So you're welcome to rephrase it, but maybe to give you a shorter response would be uh, adequate high quality sleep. And let me break it down in a framework. So the framework that I like to use is SDERS: sleep, diet, exercise, relationships, spirituality. Build your habits and your routines and rituals on those 5 pillars: sleep, diet, exercise, relationships, spirituality. There's no order, it's all as important. For me personally, spirituality comes first, then health, then relationships, then sleep, then diet. That's my personal order, but all very, very important. You need all of them, in my opinion. So, last question, Malvin asked, what do you think of risking inconsistently when in profit and when in drawdown? I think it's important to change your risk, adjust your risk when you are in profit and when you are in drawdown. Yeah, you need to adjust your risk. It has to be different. Whether you are reducing your position sizes or whether you are reducing the amount of accounts that you're copying, whether you are trading live and you trade demo for a week, all these different ways, then yes, it's risk should be dynamic, is my answer to that. And Dunk Dream says, ask me, am I a profitable trader or not? I used to be, and then I stopped trading in at the end of 2022. So from 2023, I've been full-time performance coaching. Before that, I was profitable, between 2018 to 2022. And I've been trading since 2014. So it took me a long time to become profitable. It took me 4 years. So yeah, 2014 to 2018 was very tough. But alhamdulillah, 2018 to 2022, best trading years. And now from 2023, 2025, I've dedicated my focus, my business, everything on coaching traders. All right, guys, we've hit the hour. It's been fantastic. You guys have been the best audience on a live stream with me so far. So thank you to each and every one of you, and thank you for ThinkCapital for hosting this. This is part one, because now part two, we're going to finish the 6 steps. Okay, so we can do a giveaway, and I'll need to speak to the team, but in order to win, I need you guys to go on Discord and outline your biggest takeaways. What did you learn today? Okay, don't just copy and paste from each other. Have something unique, and we'll choose a winner. Okay, so make sure you go head over to Discord. Also make sure that on Instagram, take a picture of this call, of this stream, post it on your Instagram story, or as a reel. Post it as a reel, and I'll have the team select a winner. Okay. I'm not sure what the account size is going to be. I'll need the team to authorize it, but those are the 2 parameters. Comment on Discord, and also post a reel on Instagram and tag ThinkCapital. All right, guys. Thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your day, and good luck for the rest of the week. See you guys in part 2, which is going to be, part 2 will be on the 26th of June. So I'll see you guys in a couple of weeks. Inshallah. Take care. Bye for now.